Hi, I'm Beth Smith, and I'm one of the third grade team teachers. There are 3 of us. And the really cool thing about this school, above everything else, above our academic model and everything else, is the people. They've had a huge impact in my life, and the kids are just super sweet, and every one of them is unique, but every one of them brings something to the table that makes it precious. We here at Coal Valley have a little bit different model than you might have seen in the schools that you've been to before. We actually have what we call 3 specialty teachers, and that is basically the 3 core subjects: reading, writing, and math. So each block will rotate during the day to each of those classes. So in the morning, what it would look like is my homeroom would come in, we'd have a few minutes to greet and say our pledges and pray together, and then that class would rotate to writing, and they would have a block of writing, and another class would come into my class and we would do reading. And the reason that I don't start with my homeroom is because I like to end with them at the end of the day, and so that way we get that time at the end of the day to kind of gather back together, to spend time praying together. That's when we have Bible. Each teacher teaches Bible to their own homeroom, and it's just a nice way to end our day. So in all of these classes, there's some similarity in the fact they have a model of teaching a mini lesson, and then reinforcing that through multiple activities, and then meeting with small groups to work on refining skills and boosting skills. That's what a day would look like in our classroom. So in reading, typically in 3rd grade, we're moving from decoding and learning how to read to starting to think deeper about what we're reading. We're concentrate on the comprehension and finding out more about our character, like what are they like and how does that influence the story, making inferences and predictions. We're also learning how to understand informational text better. What strategies do we use to kind of break the informational text down and to use it to help us learn. So a typical block in reading, usually we start with vocabulary, and then usually I teach the strategy for the day through our read aloud, and we would discuss how that strategy is used in the story and begin to make our predictions and notice inferences, things that we're trying to work on discovering when we're reading. We need to practice first because it doesn't come natural to us. And the nice thing is, because of our model, the kids are all reading books at their own level. So there is no like class book that the whole group is reading and we're all reading along at the same pace. No, the books that we share in common is our read aloud, but then they would have silent reading. Some of them would be silent reading and they would be reading books at their level. Others might be practicing some vocabulary reinforcement. We have just different labs and things that they would be working in to reinforce skills. I love having a bigger library because we don't have to spread it out for 3 rooms. We can really condense it and have it all here, and kids can get new books anytime they want. And that's all going on while I'm working with a group back here. I also teach the history for all 3 blocks, and so we're able to incorporate that. Right now we're doing a mystery unit in reading, but we're reading a historical fiction about a girl during the Revolutionary War. So it's just fun to see how the Lord helps you to blend those things together. In writing, they have a personal narrative unit where they're learning to share their own stories, but to organize those and put those together in a way that makes sense and helps them to develop their stories better and elaborate more. Then they also do an opinion writing unit where they have one of the activities that they do during that time is they figure out something that they'd really like to convince their parents to let them do. And then they have to write that in such a way that they're giving, their opening statement, they're providing evidence, and then their concluding statement, and then they actually give those to their parents. And then they get into informational writing, like being able to dig into the text and get information and use some of those different strategies to like comparing and contrasting and doing those kinds of things to write a piece about whatever animal or whatever subject they're researching. I know that in writing, she'll do the same thing. In writing, they also teach grammar and cursive and spelling. And so she'll have labs for those things where the kids are practicing those things. And she's also teaching how to write. And so she'll pull kids back either one at a time with a student maybe that needs some refining on his work, or maybe a group of students who are kind of needing the same kind of help, or sometimes they just like to get together and share their stories with each other. And then in math during third grade, it's always the big push for multiplication and division. A lot of through models and through drawings and building and understanding the concept first before we really just drill the algorithm. And they also work on understanding fractions on a number line. And then they're the most important part of learning all these things is to be able to take your addition and your subtraction, your multiplication and your division, and use those in real world problems. So they're constantly taking whatever subject they're working on and trying to use it in problems that people actually run into in real life. The math is taught with a lot of hands-on, a lot of manipulatives, and so they have a lot of labs where they're working on the skills. The teacher's still teaching a skill to the whole group, but then they are able to work on it, doing it in different ways to actually cement that in their head and get that visual picture in their head of what the process looks like. Science is also taught during the math block sometimes, but I also do one of the science units in reading. As we're studying about informational text, we do a unit on life cycles and of animals and plants. And so that's kind of a fun way that the science is integrated into more subjects. In third grade, we all have some special things that the kids look forward to. One of those is they love to go to Celebration Park outside of Melba, where they see, how the Indians lived and learn more about the Indian culture in Idaho. We also do a biography day every year where the kids choose someone that they would like to learn more about, and then they write a little report and they dress up as that person and they present their presentation to their parents, and everybody looks forward to that. We have Thanksgiving feast that we do, Christmas program. We've looked at birds of prey, and we've done some really fun activities with that, and then we've gone out to the Birds of Prey Center. Those are some of the kind of fun things that we do. One of the ways that we communicate with parents is every Friday we send home a Friday folder. And in that Friday communication folder, there is a page called Week at a Glance. And on that Week at a Glance, your Bible memory verse is on there. There is a little synopsis from each block group. Any of those kinds of things that are pertinent that you need to know will probably be on that Week at a Glance. And we also email it to you. So you get it in paper form, so you can put it up on your fridge or your bulletin board, and you also get it in an email in case you're at work and you want to refer back to it. That's the time when we send home the lunch order forms. It's the time when we send home the notices about upcoming events or things that are available in the community. It also has any graded work that is ready to be sent home. It's really good information, but you need to pull it out each week and make sure you look through it so you have that sense of what's coming up. A lot of parents ask about homework, and one of the things we've kind of backed off on homework. We'd really value family time. We try to keep it at a minimum because we know you probably have other children and you have other things going on too. So your child will be expected to read every night. Your child will have a spelling test, and your child will, alternating weeks have a vocab test. But those are things that they've been working on or can work on 5-10 minutes a night, and be prepared for those kinds of things. We don't send home big projects, mom and dad type projects where you do more of the work than the child does. Sometimes there's something that requires some help from you, but for the most part, you won't have to do those kinds of things. We just don't want to be sending home busy work for your kids to be doing. If they need a little reinforcement, then we'll try to provide you with that so that you can help your child. But on the whole, there's very little homework. Our favorite thing about our kids is who they are. We love to learn about who they are. We want to know them. We want to know when they're discouraged and try to encourage them. We love to celebrate their successes and laugh with them and play with them. So we cover all the subjects. We love what we do. Thanks for letting me share with you.